hopefully it will be for this session. So you will be able to, if you miss something, to hear it later on in the knowledge base, the same place that you can see all the release notes and everything else. So let's start. Now, I would like to start from the middle here right now, not from the top. The new Alma features. Before I'll continue with the Leganto side. In December release, for the first time, reading list search will be available at the top Alma search, along with all other searches that we have there. So if you pick the reading list, and then you can choose, what kind of parameters you would like to search, and then you can actually start searching for reading list with this searchable item you wish to have. So I was requesting anything with Gal, with myself, probably as an owner on a list or as an assignee, and I will be able to receive my list. And along with this search criteria that we have here, there is another tab that we added to the reading list task list, which is the all. Actually, it's a combination of assigned to me and unassigned if I'm a list operator, and assigned to me, unassigned, and assigned to others if I'm a course reserve manager. This will provide you wider search capabilities for all the lists that you are entitled to manage and see. And then, of course, you can filter by all the regular filters. On the way, we can just see that there's another filter added here in the list itself, as a filter on the list, which is the last modification date. So you can actually see lists that were modified between specific dates. Very easy in the filter. So I have only one list filtered between the 27th of October and the 7th of November. And this will provide you a better starting point to see which lists need your attention according to modification as well. Now, the reason, by the way, that we added the reading list search in Alma is, first of all, because we would like to expose the reading list and have, provide you an easier way to reach and search reading list. But there was the need didn't come from that. The need come from the need from the new functionality of creating sets for reading list. If you're familiar with Alma, you know that usually integration profiles and other jobs using sets as searching criteria to run the job according to the set. Now, we didn't have this concept in Leganto till now, or in the course reserve, so we added that as well in this release, and this is the starting point for January. You can actually use those sets in bulk reading list parameters. So I know that a lot of you are waiting for this functionality of list update in bulk, and it will be available in January, but until then we have the managed sets also available, so you can practice and create those specific sets you would like to use. So for example, if I would like to now add a new set, I can either do it itemized or logical. Just in a brief, itemized, it means that you can actually pick and choose specific list. Logical is according to a specific condition, a search will be created and the set will be created as well accordingly. So if I'll go and create this set, I can choose to do the set on a reading list, and then let's just do a demo set for this session, and then the next step will be to actually define what are the filters that the set will be created upon. So as you can see, you can use all the regular reading list filters, and also all the other filters that we had before, search criteria, so we can do by reading list code, course code, name of the reading list, etc. So let's assume I would like all the reading lists that are ready for processing, and the owner is me, and basically I have those 5 lists came out from the search result. If I'll do a save, I'm creating a set that later on I can, in the next releases, I will be able to run the bulk reading list change according to the set. Of course, I can always edit the set. I can see the results of the set, etc. So if you're not familiar with that, this is the time to get a bit of a practice with it, and in next release you can actually use it with the reading list change configuration. Okay, any questions about a bit technical starting that I had today? But if you have any question, I will be happy to answer now. If not, I will continue. So I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Okay. So now the next thing I wanted to show is also a great thing in Alma that will be exposed in Leganto in next release as well. This is the ability to delete the list and recover them or restore them later on. What we did in December release, we created the ability for you to configure, by default it's set on, that any deletion of a list will be done only logically. So you will be able to restore it if a mistake was done. So as you remember, the archive, right now we have a delete archive publication status, which we added. So every list that is deleted is now logically delete only, and you will be able to see and then restore it. So currently I have only like 4 lists in a delete status, and I'll be able to either purge it, so which means delete it permanently, or to restore it. And then, of course, the list will be available for the same list owners as it was before. So, for example, if an instructor deletes the list, you will be able to restore it for him or her. Of course, the list will not be published. You need to republish it if you need. So it will be restored only in a draft mode. Okay. As I said, in January release, instructor will be able to do that as well, only for his list or her list. Okay, next thing. Okay, so we wanted to provide you with the ability to communicate with your academics or with the faculties about when you would like them to submit your lists. So what we did is allow you to add in the course information. Sorry, this is not the right place. Oh, I wanted to do this course. In the course information, I wanted to, we added the submitted by, a list by a new date field. When you enter or providing this date on a course, the reading list that will be, the instructors that are associated with the list will be notified in Leganto that the list is expected to be fulfilled until this date. Okay? So if I'll go now in Leganto, and I will be able to see that there is this list with this course available, but I'm Gal as an instructor on the list. If I'll go to instructors, I can see that Nir, Tamar, and Gal are instructors on the list, and therefore all 3 of us will get this task list or notification in our task pane on the right side, says submit course list for library fulfillment to be fulfilled by library, and then the course code will be associated as well, so the instructor will be notified about that. Now if I'll get into the list itself, I can see that we added another option to have the instructors on the course being presented both for the instructor, but more important to the course, to the students of the course. And those instructors are basically the same instructor, are arriving from the same instructor lists that are associated with the course, but you can decide to show or hide those instructors. So I'm adding another instructor now to the list. And if I, of course, will, sorry, I need to save. And if I will refresh my list now, I will be able to see that Tamar was also, she is a collaborator, of course, but she is the instructor, same as I, on this list, and a student will be able to see that as well. Okay, so you can emphasize who is the instructor if you would like. Of course, you can turn on and off this functionality. There's a flag that can enable it or disable it at all to be presented in Leganto. Okay, any other questions about the deletion, the due date of the courses to be submitted, or the course instructors presented in Leganto before I continue? Okay, so let's continue. Let's go back to Leganto. We are now allow you or the faculty in Leganto to view the list as a student will see it. It's important because sometimes you would like, you are creating the list and you are publishing part of the sections in a future date or specific citations, etc. And you would like to see that everything that was created is as you would like it to be. So we added this functionality. So you can see view list as students. When you click this function, immediately you'll get this bottom bar with student view mode. So it's an indication that you are not in the regular mode as you were before. And you will be able to see the list according to what exactly the student will see. If I click full citation view, you can see that I will not see, the ability to add public notes, etc. I see it exactly as the student will. And basically, I can make sure that the list is appropriate to my planning. Okay. Of course, to get out of this mode, either I click the X in this bottom bar, or I'll just click any other functionality outside of the list. So if I'll go to my collection, immediately I'll returning to my same row I had before. This was done in order to not to complicate things and for by mistake keep the instructor in a student mode, and then she will not understand what's going on around her. Okay, let's continue. Questions? No. Okay. I see a lot of bravos here from Betsy. Thank you. Yep, exactly. You can actually train and show the instructor while training how students will see the list. No need to go back and re-register from the CMS. This is correct. Okay. The instructor pane in Leganto, we just discussed that. Let me see what else. Okay, this is the other part of how you see a list to be submitted by a specific date in Leganto. We already discussed that as well. Okay, next thing, which is also part of the library engagement with the instructor. The send list. we had the send list. This is not you, right? When the list was finalized, you can actually, from the menu could send the list to be reviewed. Now what we did, we exposed this button in much more visible place. But also, when you mouse over this button, you have an indication for the instructor when was the last time the list was sent to be reviewed. Okay, and I can basically resend it anytime I would like. So I can resend it now again, and then again and again. I'll get this toast saying list sent to the library process, and we can see that the time, because I did it in the morning as well, but the time was changed to now, so it's 4:47 here in Israel right now. Okay, now this is not the end. This is just the beginning. So list was sent to the library, but until now, you as librarian, the only way for you to indicate the list was sent to you was that the list status was changed to ready for processing, but you didn't actually know when it was done. So, especially for you, we added another field in the reading list. Sorry, let me go back to the reading list field, and we added this specific field requested for review. So if I'll go back to all my lists, and let's search, what was the list name? It was Butterfly Introduction, and it's related to this course. Let's see if I can search it, if I can actually change it to this view. Okay, so first of all, we added this column as well here. So you will be able to actually see when the list was sent to you and sort the reading list panel accordingly. This is really important because you'll now know, okay, and this is the list we were talking about, and we know that on 30th of November, it was sent to be reviewed by the instructor. Okay, and then you can actually spot it on, at the same time it happened, and you will be able to, adjust your work accordingly. Okay, and combining with the last modification, that filter, this become really a useful tool for you to, when you're reaching the reading list task list screen, to see what was happening in, since last week or since tomorrow, since the last time you've been managing the reading list. Now, inside the reading list, if I'll go into the reading list itself, we added another filter to comprehend the same methodology, but within the reading list. And this filter was, okay, I don't see it here, but there was an issue in in this specific environment, but the filter was about the modification date of the citation. It will be, and probably you already saw it in the sandbox. I'm using now an SQL on January release, so there is a small issue here about this specific filter. But the filter on the last modification date of the citation will be also available here, so you will be able to filter out all the citations that were modified, let's assume, today. Okay. There is a question from Charlotte saying, regarding the request for review, is it updated when an item is sent or only when the list is sent? It's basically updated when the list is sent, when they actively press the list button. Currently, it should not change because we want to differentiate if the item was sent and the list was sent, because an active click on the send button could be done after multiple items were sent as well. But you will be able to have a filter in the list itself for the last modification, so you can actually filter the last modified action. Okay. see. Next thing is related to book chapter. Book chapter, as you probably know, in Leganto we didn't have in Alma also. You can create a book chapter, but we didn't have a specific fields available for book chapters, such as the chapter title, the chapter author, etc. So now if you choose book chapter, you can see that the entire form has changed, and you will be able to add the chapter title, chapter author, and editors, and the chapter, which was previously just a chapter, changed to chapter number. So if you would like to have a specific number for the chapter, you can type it in as well. Now we did kept ourselves from being have regressions from former book chapters that you were using. So if you have an old, if you are using, of course, book chapters currently in your reading list, we will present in Leganto the book title as the book chapter in the as before. But future book chapters that you will create can benefit this new fields that we added to Leganto, as well as for Alma. Okay. Any questions about the book chapter? Okay, let me see anything else that I wanted to discuss. Okay, small functionality. You are now able to export from my collection into RIS format. This may mostly useful for academics if they will wish to export some collection they did in Leganto to external systems. Let me see anything that's worth discussing here. In Primo, we added the material type beneath the logo, beneath the icon, so it's more understood what type of item is about to be added, and in such places and that we have an editor or contributor, we also present those as well as the part of the metadata in the Leganto in search. Okay, let me see. Okay, last thing I wanted to discuss, and then of course if you have more questions, regarding new functionality we added as described here. It's split between Alma and Leganto. So the use case is as follows. We have several requests, mainly from the US region, from the North American region, to allow Leganto to create students on the fly when arriving from the course management system, and the user is not exist in Alma. There are two use cases that we about to solve here. So let me just quickly get into the LTI. Basically, all the configuration will be done in the LTI. So I'll switch to a more privileged account. Hold on. So in the integration profile where the LTI is, let's choose LTI now. In this case, this is a Moodle configuration, but doesn't matter, it's the same for all. So what we did is allow, when arriving from the CMS, user creation on the fly. Now we have two use cases, and let me go one after the other. The first use case is that using the same LTI to create these users, because for some reason the course management system is either being updated ahead of the synchronization of Alma, or there are some users that can be added there in a parallel flow. But in any case, those users are unique users and are not duplicated with users that already exist in the system. So when you activate the self-registration area in the LTI configuration panel, then I need to choose which user group to associate, and the user will be created according to the user group configuration. And now every user that will reach from this LTI and is not existed in Alma as a student will be created for this purpose in Alma immediately. Now we don't we don't ask the user for any information if we can discover the user information from the course management system. In such cases, for some reason the course management system does not provide us this information, we will present kind of a form with first, last name, and an email, and that's it basically. This is one-time registration. So the first use case is you would like to allow on the same LTI interface trusted, we call it trusted students or trusted CMS. Now the second use case is when you are hooking up an external CMS that not necessarily belong to you. We have such use case in the States, and the CMS is not managed by you, and the students are definitely not unique students in your system. So you will set up a new LTI profile for those specific specific purpose. And if you would like to do that, you will need to check this checkbox here, which will basically what it's doing is providing some kind of a prefix on the user when it's creating it, so you will not get any duplication of users or username in Alma due to this creation, because this is untrusted or external approach, and most likely you might have other users available at the same name. Okay, so this is one thing that we did. The other thing we did is in the course when academic reach Leganto, now if you remember from your implementation process, you needed to first of all providing a role of instructor to the academic, so to your academics, so they will be able to be an owner or list of etc. But also you wanted them to be you had to associate them to a specific courses so they can be an owner on the course itself. Now on the reading list that they are creating. Now what we did in December, we allowed this to be happening automatically. So when an instructor is reaching Leganto and for some reason he's not identified as an instructor, this will be done automatically for him or her. And also, if he's creating or reaching a course that he's an instructor on the course, of course, he will gain an owner on the reading list itself. So it will be synchronized without the need to synchronize it. Okay, so those two, both users and roles for academics were added in December. Okay, let's continue, see if there are other nice things. Where it is. I think we just went over all the items I wanted to discuss. Maybe to discuss two nice things. One of them I already mentioned about in January release. So first of all, update list information in bulk. This is the first thing that I wanted to highlight, so you'll know about that, and we already discussed that. And the other thing, it's a small thing, but I know a lot of you are requesting that, is to associate the Creative Commons license to list. Also to provide a default. So any list in the system that will be created, if the default exists, this Creative Commons license will be assigned to it automatically, and you don't need to deal with it as well. This link will always be available at the top of the screen, so anyone that will use the reading list will be able to see the Creative Commons license associated with the list. That's about it. If you have any other questions you would like to ask now, please do. If you don't and you remember later on, please feel free to approach me directly. Let's see if there are other. And if not, so I would like to thank you, and let's meet next year. Thank you very much.